This is the Breathing the Life podcast, and today we have TK Nguyen. Is that right?
Yes.
And Donna Martin over here. I'm Luis Guerra, and this is TK. Yeah, and we're gonna get deep on positivity and inspiration and mindset with you, and Donna's gonna lead us.
I'm ready.
Thank you, TK. So
Thanks for being
TK is
here.
coming to us all the way from Vietnam. So thank you so much for staying up so late, and you're still energetic. I love it.
I'm here in Ho Chi Minh City in
Welcome.
Vietnam, so excited to join you guys today and have a great conversation together.
Amazing. Can you share? Okay, so one of the things that stands out to me the most about you is that you have an abundance of energy. And it doesn't matter what time it is, it doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in, you show up with like so much enthusiasm, and it shines through your text messages, through your, Instagram pages, everything. And in person, like we feel like, there's energy about you. So can you share with us, like, have you always been this way, or like at one point you're like, no, this is how I'm going to show up? Share more with us about your background and how you led to this place today.
Yes, so I'm originally from San Diego, California. So shout out to everybody from Southern California. I'm living in Vietnam now for 11 years. So it's been a really exciting journey. So I think I've always been quite energetic. I've always been that kid with like ADHD, bouncing around, having a lot of fun, and just always been known for like my energy. And I think that's just part of the identity that I've also built for myself. And anytime I show up, I always want to provide that energy for those around me, and like, how can I leave my mark in a sense, right? So I think that's just been part of my identity since I was a kid. In 8th grade, in 12th grade, I was the class clown for middle school and high school. So people always knew me for just being energetic and just trying to make people have fun and get people to laugh and enjoy themselves whenever I'm around and stuff. So I think it's just part of my identity.
Yeah. And so I know at one point in your life, you were in San Diego and you decided that something has to change. I know that you were also like, in Hollywood and like really mingling with like, the celebrities. And so I think a lot of us want to understand and know like what happened there. How did you one day woke up and go, da-da, share with us?
I wish it was that simple. I mean, like, really, it was me being in San Diego. I grew up in Rancho Penasquitos, if anyone's familiar with San Diego, but it's just like the suburbs and stuff, right? So growing up, I went to San Diego State University. It was a great college school, a lot of fun. But I was actually a dancer, right? So I was like a hip hop dancer, like doing choreography and things like that, right? So that actually led me to like have an opportunity to be in nightlife. So the whole story was like, us being dancers and stuff, we would go to nightclubs and just perform. And I didn't drink at the time. I just wanted to go up there and just like, be able to have a stage and a spotlight to be able to kind of like showcase my love for dance and everything. So it was a lot of fun doing that. And every time that we would perform, like we'd always just bring a ton of people along. So that kind of led to me becoming a nightclub promoter in San Diego. So we were doing events with House of Blues, working with Live Nation, doing a lot of their holiday parties and everything, and it was a ton of fun. We were pretty much like the biggest Asian promotion company in like 2005 to like 2010 and so forth. So it wasn't until about 2010 I actually moved from San Diego to Los Angeles. So I was turning 25. I was like, oh man, I've been doing the nightclub thing for over 4 years. What's next? And I wanted to kind of change my environment and see what other opportunities there were. San Diego gave me a great kind of platform to be able to do something that I enjoyed. And it was really just doing these events, tying in the dance community. So it was great because the dancers would come, bring great energy. They didn't drink too much, but they brought a lot of fun. And so we were able to really elevate like the whole nightlife scene there and kind of throw a lot of great parties. So that led me to actually moving to Los Angeles, and I was really fortunate. I got grandfathered in Hollywood. This is like the early 2010, 2011, and I was throwing parties there with a lot of really well-known club promoters and stuff, and all the best parties were happening during the weekdays. So the weekend, it's like all the weekend warriors would come, but all the celebrities, all like the athletes and stuff would come out during the weekdays. And when I was doing that, I got noticed by someone who would soon be my mentor. His name was Kenny Mack. He's in Los Angeles, and he was working for Belvedere at the time. He connected me with Moa Hennessy, and they started a new program, like an ambassador for Hennessy. So in 2010, I was like, 26 years old. I was, having the opportunity to be the ambassador for Hennessy. And it was a dream job. I mean, I wasn't drinking until I was like 25, And it was a totally different lifestyle. And that opportunity just opened up a lot of doors for me. So it was like a corporate kind of gig, but without the corporate hours and stuff. And I just met so many amazing people through that opportunity. And it just kind of snowballed. And I met, like you mentioned, a lot of rubbing shoulders with a lot of different celebrities and stuff in the Hollywood scene. And then fast forward to Vietnam. So my parents, or my dad is in Vietnam. Our family's in manufacturing. His dream is always to bring us back to Vietnam because he saw so much opportunity. So for him, it's like, hey, come back to Vietnam. It's like a blank canvas, What is it that you want to do? Because, I can support you. You have a great foundation here. So the more and more I would go back to Vietnam, I just saw the opportunity because Vietnam was like booming. Tourism was really growing, and people were learning more about Vietnam. It wasn't just people only knew Vietnam for the war and things like that. But we have such beautiful beaches, amazing hospitality, and the tourism industry was just really growing. So fast forward to 2014, I come back to Vietnam, and we're looking to do maybe a boutique hotel, but we stumble upon this rooftop, and that rooftop actually ends up becoming Skylight, which we're known for, and we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary last week.
So great, yeah, that's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. So it's been quite a journey. It's been a lot of fun. So but I always tell people, when I moved here, I didn't know if we were going to succeed or not. But the important thing was just taking that chance, having that leap of faith, trusting the journey. And worst case, like it doesn't work out, I could always go back to Los Angeles and find a job. Hopefully, still work with Hennessy and things like that. But I felt like I had a great foundation, and I had to take that opportunity. And luckily, it's worked out so far.
Did you feel like your dad was sort of pulling you? It was so significant that you were like, "See you later, Hennessy. I'm gonna go to Vietnam and be with my family," or what? Like, what happened right there?
He's always kind of like talked to us about being an entrepreneur, right? So he's been an entrepreneur. He went from like, basically rags to riches kind of story and stuff, coming from such harsh time, living in Vietnam, like, before the war and everything, becoming a refugee, escaping to the US and everything, and becoming a tailor, opening furniture stores, and then going back to Vietnam when he had the opportunity, once they like lifted the embargo and everything. So he went back to Vietnam, saw like, Vietnam, it's there's nothing here. So he was able to make an impact, build a business with his brother and everything. So he saw us in the US, we're like, hey, we live a very good life. But he's like, if you want an opportunity to live a great life, there's so much opportunity here for us to do practically anything you want, So he was always trying to entice us to come back. But man, I had it pretty good, I will say. In LA, in Hollywood, rubbing shoulders with the elite and stuff, and my ego was being stroked all the time. So it was like, it was hard to walk away from that life. You're a 26-year-old with a $30,000 expense account, living in Hollywood, going to the top nightclubs and everything, having access to the best of the best, And it was hard, but for him, it's like, hey, look, you don't own Hennessy. If you come back to Vietnam, there's a lot of opportunities for us to do something. And of course, I always want to do something and work with my family and everything and see what the opportunity was. So just, I'm very fortunate in having my father as a foundation, but, I'm thankful that it kind of worked out in the end.
Wow.
I love that. So I can relate to that because I also came from Vietnam, and I did move back to Vietnam for a little bit, seeking the same dream. And I have to say, I think, I can only speak for myself, and I can see it in my brother, who is also there with you, TK. I mean, in the same city as you, TK. That like our passion is to give back, right? Like there is this like desire to like take our education, our knowledge, our expertise, and share it with like the community and the younger generation in Vietnam that might not get the same opportunity.
So cool.
not to like live the way we do, but is to share like the brain, right? Like the creativity, the way we think outside of the box. And so a lot of that led me to go back to Vietnam, and led me, my brother to like go back to Vietnam. And I don't, you know, I'm sure you can share your passion about that.
Yeah.
Donna, can you relate to this? Okay, so like growing up in the U.S. in the 90s and stuff, like I never saw Asians, let alone Vietnamese people, like in mainstream or any kind of representation. So I was never really necessarily proud to be Vietnamese. I don't know if you can relate to that with me, but like, you know, so when I came back to Vietnam, I was just like blown away because like, you know, Vietnam, it's a developing country, but people are just genuinely so happy here. And like I'm seeing the growth here. So it's an exciting time to be in Vietnam, you know, and we can contribute to that growth. So it made me proud and it made me want to contribute back to Vietnam because, you know, I felt very fortunate being able to like grow up in the States, have access to the education that I had, having access to, you know, the lifestyle that we had. So like coming back to Vietnam and you're seeing people who are, you know, on average making $300 to $400 a month, but yet they're living a good life, they're happy and things like that. But so coming back to Vietnam now, it gives me a lot of purpose and wanting to kind of present the best of Vietnam to the world and hopefully bring the best of the world to Vietnam because Vietnam is continuing to grow like so much, especially in the last like 10 years.
Wow.
No, I can totally relate. And so when I lived in Vietnam, I was going to like all the new developments, right? Like all of like upgrades of Vietnam, like all the boutiques, hotels, all of the coffee shops that were like very creative. Because I wanted to highlight like where we've been and where we're now. And I think a lot of us here in the States, if we haven't been back, or if we haven't really been able to you know, like understand the growth of Vietnam, we can like generalize like, well, you know, it was this and therefore that's how I remember it. But you're right. I think like when you're there, the energy is like, it's kind of indescribable. You know, we're in the presence, but there is this weird chaos going around us, but it's control chaos because everybody's moving the same direction and everybody can feel each other, you know, so it keeps you in the moment. And we oftentimes don't really think about the future, so we don't worry about it because today is the day, right? We party and we hang out and we go to get coffees and, you know, we go and meet friends and hang out with family. So it feels like that's a lot of like, you know, what we're trying to do here in the West, right? This is what we're trying to capture with all these lectures and books. So I would love to hear more about what you're doing now. And like how did that all come about, and how do you maintain your enthusiasm, because it feels like, okay, you were there and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go achieve my dreams, and you get there and you're like, okay, I'm gonna build my dream. 10 years later you're like, I am like beyond my dreams, right? Like I'm looking at you thinking like, I mean, you're like beyond the rooftop at this point. Please describe that to us.
I mean, looking back, like sometimes we forget how far we've come. I think I've always been an overachiever. I'm trying to like, what's next? You kind of forget sometimes to take a step back and be like, whoa, if you would have told me that we were going to be able to build an iconic location like Skylight in Nha Trang and have it become like a tourist destination, like, you know, and still have it 10 years later, you know, it'd be hard for me to believe you, you know. So just to give a little bit of background. So when we came to Vietnam, we came to Nha Trang. It's like the Miami of like, you know, the US and everything, right? So everyone comes to Nha Trang to party. It's an amazing beach town. And it's really developed over the last few years and stuff. So we have an international airport now. So we're getting people coming from all around the world. So with our original idea and our intent when we first did Skylight, we stumbled upon this rooftop and we're like, whoa, you know, I was looking around Singapore, you know, in Bangkok, in Ho Chi Minh City, there's all iconic rooftops in each of those cities. But in Nha Trang, we were just known for the beach. There's an amazing spot called Sailing Club that's right on the water. It's been around for 30 years, right? So for us, it's like, hey, you know what? Like, how do we bring the beach vibes to the roof? Because like the view is so amazing. We're right on the beach. So you're seeing the mountains in the back, you're seeing the beach right in front of you, and it's like the city is just surrounding you. So for us, it was like, okay, let's bring this beach vibe up to this rooftop. Let's build a destination. It's not just about the drinks or the food, but how do we create this experience that people here in Vietnam 10 years ago didn't have, you know. we were bringing mixology to, you know, Vietnam at that time, and just doing a lot of things that, you know, maybe we were doing in Las Vegas or at some of our events in Hollywood where we have signs. So if you come to Skylight, right, Louis, right, or Luis.
Luis.
All right, sorry.
Luis.
So Luis,
Yeah,
if you come up, you know, we're
That's
gonna greet you. We're gonna have signs that say "Welcome, Luis," to, you know, Nha Trang. And like, you know, 10 years ago, you didn't have that in Vietnam. So we've been able to kind of like, you know, help innovate nightlife and be out there with just the experience that I had from Hollywood, bringing it to this kind of small beach town, you know, elevating the nightlife there. So, you know, it's been a lot of fun, and looking back 10 years, you know, we've welcomed over 2.2 million people. We've been able to win a lot of great, like, kind of accolades and things like that. You know, the Vietnam Tourism Board, you know, named us top 5 destinations to visit when in Nha Trang. So that's been great. So it's now like they have a saying in Vietnamese, like, if you've been to Nha Trang, but you haven't been to Skylight, then you haven't been to Nha Trang. So I'm very proud of that. You know? So anytime anyone comes to Nha Trang, we would love to welcome you guys and stuff. What were you gonna say, Donna?
Yeah. So we missed you because we were in Nha Trang this year. Yeah, we went to see Skylight, and we were blown away. We connected with your partner.
Yes, that's
Drew,
also my brother.
And his brother, and we had a tour.
That was great.
We have to say yes. Everyone that's listening, please get a ticket. Go to Nha Trang, go to Ho Chi Minh City, go to Da Nang, go to Hanoi.
I don't remember the sign with our names.
Right,
What's up?
because you know why?
Wait a second.
I'm gonna have to make that up to you guys. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, wait a second. Can I back
Rewind.
up? I want to back up for a second. So it sounds like you built this experience. Would you call yourself an experienced designer?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
like,
you know, it's for me, our whole thing is about creating memories, you know? So when we came back like 10 years ago, it's like, you know, design and everything has really changed in the past few years. Now, how do we make everything Instagrammable, right? So for us, you know, we've been able to be very fortunate in having such an Instagrammable place just with the view alone. But let alone we have different features that are at Skylight, whether it's a 360 sky deck, or we have like glass skywalk that you can walk out on if you're, you know, daring enough. It's glass. You look down 41 floors, you know. So all of those things, especially with the energy at night, where, you know, you're having, you know, we have like people on stilts coming out and greeting you. We have people coming out for your birthday with signs, or we have these signature punch bowls and stuff where it's like being served a massive cocktail, which is like 3.5 liters. You're sharing it with your friends. And it's all about the presentation and being able to help connect people and unite and inspire them at the same time. You know, when I look back on my career, I realize that I've always been kind of like a community builder and stuff. So I've had different kind of platforms, whether it was my, you know, promotion company, or now with Skylight, being able to connect people from all around the world, have a good time, create some kind of memory that hopefully will last with them for quite some time. And then, you know, now with my new venture within esports and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun, but just trying to navigate and figure out, you know, my path forward. But I think everything's always tied back to uniting and inspiring people.
Wow.
Esport. I mean, I've been watching you, right? And watching you travel all over the globe with a group of really enthusiastic young Vietnamese, you know, peeps that are like just ready to go. And yes, mind you, as an esport, yes, is something that you have to utilize your brain, and, you know, like you have to be like all connected, mind, body, and soul, right? To be able to like this kind of like long, competitive, right? Like sport.
Fast moving sport,
Right. So I would love to know, one, you travel a lot. So like, how do you regain like the energy? And two, like, how do you keep them enthusiastic and like motivated?
So just to give a little bit of background on like esports and everything. So it's I have a League of Legends team. It's the #1 esport in the world. I mean, we're having millions and millions of people watching, and it's a lot of fun. So it's basically 5-on-5, like multi-dimensional chess, but you're playing on a PC. So with League of Legends, it's a Riot Games title, and it's been around for over almost 14 years now. So like we just came back from Vancouver, Canada, where they have the mid-season invitational, and we're playing in this like arena with like 12,000 people. So you have teams from all around the world,
Wow.
from China to Korea to Europe to North America and to Vietnam as well.
Wow.
So our team has been very fortunate. So during COVID, so I've always been in hospitality and entertainment. During COVID, you know, everything like stopped. You know, it was like everything was closed. Skylight was closed for 11 months. And I was looking for the next opportunity for us. We had already invested into East West Brewery, which is a craft beer company here in Vietnam. And, you know, for me, I was like, okay, what's next? But my business partner, Randy, he had invested into this esports company. I was like, esports, that sounds super interesting. So for Vietnam, to give you a little bit of background, like the last 2 Olympics, Vietnam has won no medals, like absolutely none. So we're not the most physical when it comes to like traditional sports that's more physical. I'm probably the tallest guy in the country at like 6'3", right? But like, you know, with esports, we're competitive, right? We're there at the world championship. You know, we're competing on the world stage.
It's the
Yes,
mind.
because Vietnamese people, we're like really good at math. We're good at problem solving and everything. So, you know, it's been great to, we acquired this team, and this team has gone on to represent Vietnam. We won a gold medal at SEA Games, which is the Southeast Asia Olympics. And esports now is a part of that. So we're seeing Asia Games. They're having esports be a part of the Asia Olympics. And now the Olympics with the IOC, we're going to have esports also a part of that. So it's really exciting, especially for Asia, because it's really big in China, in Korea, and Vietnam. And we're getting a lot of support from the Vietnamese government. So I've been traveling a ton. So I just got back from Vancouver. This jacket is from that event called MSI. I'm off on Monday to Riyadh for the Esports World Cup, where it's like 22 different games. People are playing. Cristiano Ronaldo is the ambassador. I hope I get to meet him. He's like quite a handsome guy, you know? So, you know, like, so it's great to see esports being propelled on this global stage, having, you know, global ambassadors like a Cristiano Ronaldo that can bring a lot of like influence and really spotlight this new industry. So for Vietnam, we saw it as a new opportunity, and it's like a rising tide lifts all boats. So I jumped in 2021. So, you know, it's been exciting, but it's been difficult with, you know, the pandemic and everything, and we're still learning how to navigate. But I enjoy working with all these young gentlemen. You know, they're in their 20s, from like 18 to like 25, you know. But, you know, going back to your question about where do I get all the energy, it's just been like, you know, I feel very honored and proud to be representing Vietnam, to be representing our region and our team on the global stage. You know, going back to what I was mentioning about like, you know, not always feeling proud when I was younger because I didn't see Vietnamese people being represented on this global stage. But now, you know, at these events, we're seeing Vietnamese kids stepping on the global stage, competing and, you know, inspiring the next generation of people. So esports, you know, they're saying is not the future, it is the now. So I'm excited to be a part of this industry and just really shine a spotlight and use some of my background in entertainment, nightlife, and bring this whole like hospitality and some new energy to the industry.
That's cool.
I love that. Wow. So, you know, one of our intent for this podcast and all the podcasts and interviews that we have done, you know, is to highlight some of like the, you know, like the rituals, routines, the, you know, like the way you empower yourself. And it sounds like, you know, you didn't get to like a bottom, right? Because oftentimes we get to the bottom, we're like, oh my God, things have to change. I gotta do something, and you shift or you go to a different direction, and therefore you go up. But it sounds like you just kept like challenging yourself to get to that next level, but also meanwhile, like looking at like, what is your inspiration? What is that passion that you're going after? And because of that, it ignites all these opportunities and you're looking for them, you're embracing them, you're like, you know, doing it and just going for it. So give us a couple of very like easy, simple advice to like the audience.
Like imagine someone that does not even understand that. Like what's the first thing they would do to sort of like shift their thinking, like, no, I can do whatever my dream is, you know. TK, he's doing it, you know. And what are you doing?
I gotta say, I mean,
are you drinking something?
I know.
Are you?
I know on social media you're getting all the highlights, and so like, you know, it wouldn't be accurate to say that I don't have my lows. There's definitely times where like I'm questioning what I'm doing. Is this the right step? You know, I came from nightlife entertainment. Now I'm switching to esports. Like, you know, is this the right direction? You know, I've invested 4 years into it now. So there's definitely times where I question what I'm doing, and I kind of go through kind of these difficult kind of like just questioning yourself, right? Or having imposter syndrome and things like that, you know? But I think for me, some of the things that I've been able to do to kind of like when I do feel that way is like, what are the things that I can be doing from my daily routine? I mean, working out has been so crucial for me, you know. Growing up, I was like a skinny fat kid. You know, I was always kind of skinny and like, you know, and you know, working for Hennessy and stuff, like drinking a lot, like, you know, I had like a little baby belly and stuff. But it wasn't until I came back to Vietnam and I really started taking my health more seriously and being able to get a trainer and everything. Like that has probably been the biggest life hack for me, like working out and like being able to kind of like release that stress or like, you know, just get your mind off of work or anytime that you're feeling uncertain. You know, working out has helped me give me that certainty just in my everyday life. So I think the number one hack is just working out, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be walking 30 minutes outside, or you know, for me, like one of our good friends, he has a gym here. It's called Primal. I mean, I'm pretty much there almost every day, just getting in a good hour, and then sauna, steam room, and like ice bath. You know, those little hacks and stuff really go a long way, and just putting me in the right kind of mood to just tackle the day. You know. So I think the biggest life hack I would say would be just taking care of your physical health, and that's been a big one for me.
Love it.
Yeah.
Movement.
Yeah, and then movement, because that, you know, that really moves the energy in your body.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how we kind of interpret it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we're like, for us, it's like breathing is super easy, right? You just like, there you go to your breath, right? But everything you just said, like that definitely shifted things for me at a certain point where I was like, I have to like start moving like more. I was thinking last night, I was like, I need to move more now and do more working out like for my legs, you know, because that's something that I deal with. But I used to like hit it hard, you know? And so like now to get back to that place where you're like, oh, what is not in balance? It's exactly what you said, you know? It's that commitment every day, you know? But regardless, if we don't have an hour and you can't sign up for a gym, whatever, it's like there's other things that people can do.
You can go out for a walk,
I think
go outside. I mean, I've been traveling a lot, so the easiest workout for me, if there's, you know, if they don't have a gym at the hotel, is just go for a run. And it's been a lot of fun actually going for runs because then I get to see and experience the city that I'm in. You know, Vancouver is my first time there. You know, I was there for almost 10 days. I went on 3 runs, and I got to see parts of the city I'd never seen before. So the weather was super beautiful there too. So that was great.
Yeah. Cool.
I have a question about the imposter syndrome, because that's a hot topic.
Yeah. We all
Right. We don't want to talk about it, but it's there. It's in everyone's DNA. So we all have different interpretations of them. Can you, you know, I'm going to ask you to be a little bit vulnerable and share your imposter syndrome. What happens there, and what do you tell yourself? How do you talk to yourself, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us deal with it, and I realize that it's a normal thing. I think a lot of people kind of like have that, like, am I good enough? You know, or like, I think you know, I'm all into Tony Robbins, and I study a lot of the things that he preaches and a lot of the framework that he shares. So the two biggest things that people kind of face, it's kind of universal, is am I good enough and will I be loved? So I think those two things are things that we're all tackling, every single person that you meet, and some of the most successful people. You know, I think I saw something with Steph Curry having imposter syndrome, and he's like one of the GOATs of basketball, you know? So for me, it's like realizing, hey, you know what, it's a normal feeling. And when you feel that, it means that you're on the edge or about to go through a breakthrough. You're pushing yourself outside the comfort zone. So I had to really reframe that for myself. You know, realizing like, hey, I'm feeling imposter syndrome. That means I'm doing something I've never done before. So I should go forward towards that. Easier said than done for sure, you know. But I mean, it's something that I'm constantly dealing with. You know, I'm somebody that's always been on the camera and kind of been very comfortable on camera. Yet I'm having imposter syndrome starting my own podcast, to be honest. You know, I have I'm having my own thoughts. You know, because now that I'm in Vietnam, it's like, is the podcast going to be in Vietnamese or in English? you know, and like if I do it in English, I'm not gonna have that many guests because most people here speak Vietnamese. But then if I do it in Vietnamese, my Vietnamese is not good enough. So I'm like coming with all these excuses, and it's like it's so easy for me to give advice to others, but then a lot of times I need to just be listening to the advice even that I'm giving right now, you know. So for me, it's like when I'm realizing that I'm having some kind of imposter syndrome, not feeling that I'm good enough, it means that I'm doing something outside of my comfort zone. I have to reframe that as, hey, this is an opportunity to grow here. But, you know, also going back to just building confidence, you know, and one way to build confidence is like keeping the commitments that you make to yourself and stacking those. And like confidence is just evidence, and stacking undeniable proof to make yourself feel more confident, you know. So dealing with it, I'm sure all of us are. I know a lot, maybe your listeners are as well. So, you know, as much as like, you know, my Instagram shows that I'm on top of the world and as confident as ever, really like you're just seeing my highlights. And I want to remind people that, you know, social media is highlights, y'all. And, you know, a lot of people, some of your favorite creators, some of the most successful people that I know, they deal with it all the time. And, you know, it's important to have, you know, good people around you. You know, how do you, like Han, your brother has been an amazing person that's been in my circle, reminding me of, you know, how amazing I can be and giving me that confidence. Sometimes I borrow his confidence, you know, and just trying to just, you know, push through it and stuff. So, you know, you're not alone, guys. You're not alone.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Love that.
And I think that's so important. That's like one of the remedies to like overcome anything, right? Like imposter syndrome, as well as like self-doubt, as well as anxiety, as well as fear. So all of those things that are not going to be able to like move you to that next step in achieving whatever you want to achieve. They might not be huge goals, but whatever it is that like your heart is asking for. So I think that's really important. Yeah, having the right amount of friends, circle that are going to like
reframe it as you stepping out of your comfort zone. So that means that imposter syndrome is like the opportunity for you to like break through it and get to that next level, you know?
Yeah. So I'll share this, like where this podcast came from. So I work on a lot of podcasts, right? And they've done really well. So, but I never am on camera. And I'm always the like person behind the curtain. I'm always like working the post part of it. But so I was like, Donna, let's do a podcast. Come on, let's do it. Me and you.
Why not?
Never been on, you know, I've listened to incredible people interview and Donna's gotten to see a little bit of that, but it's like to step into that moment of, like you were saying, life really beginning at the moment of feeling, I don't know, like I'm not good enough, I'm not experienced enough, or I have fear. It's suddenly like, nah, well, let's just start podcasting, whatever. What's the worst that's going to happen, right? Am I going to get eaten? Is TK going to come for me and nominate me? Nah. And so it's like, I really had to like go through these things in my head. I was like, screw it, let's do it. You know? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, we're learning so much from you. So we want to share your vulnerability because, so I can vouch for that as well, because it took him months to convince me to be on camera.
That's right.
And I backed out 2 episodes just because I was just not ready. And I've expressed that. I'm just not ready. You know, like I have a lot of photos on my Instagram account, but you know, like you said, they're highlights, right, of like things that I love and creativity. But to share and then to get vulnerable and to like, you know, really be like this authentic person that you can be, so your audience can relate to you, it's not that easy, you know. That's like watching yourself talk, talking, you know, speaking. So the simplest step that I took was just doing it. One day I just like woke up, committed to doing the episode. I walked in and I'm like, I'm ready, and that's what happened. That's all we did was we turned on our phone, right? Because our phone is our camera. We just started talking and just going from there.
And we surround ourselves with people that are in our corner, you know, that inspire us to do well, you know. So it's like, that's really important, you know what I'm saying? So like, there are moments when you hit the bottom, you're like doubting yourself and you're like, I can't get myself out. And you call someone or you talk with somebody, or I'm like, oh, there's Donna, look, my life is so positive and beautiful, it's amazing, you know. I feel that, you know. Or what, for an example, I called one of my sisters, whatever it is, in my immediate group, and all of a sudden it just changes everything, because it's like, why are you tripping out? That's in your brain. That's in your, you are telling yourself, you're ruminating.
It's just like a small shift.
Nobody else sees that. So yeah.
So I would love to hear from you. For the audiences watching, what are some of your advice for them to do, whether it's doing what you're doing or just going for their dreams, just like conquer up that like really huge goal or small goals? Like, what are your insights?
I mean,
how do you imagine, I guess, is what.
I mean, probably this advice I need to listen to for myself as well. But I mean, it's like, I think we overthink things all the time. We're always worried about what other people are going to think. But honestly, like, everybody is going through the same things. They all struggle with the same things as far as like imposter syndrome, doubting ourselves. Are we good enough? It's a normal, universal kind of like fear that we all face. So I think at the end of the day, it's like we have one life. We have one life to live. Why not do what you love? I mean, you might be doing something else that you don't love, and at the end of the day, it might not work out. But if you do something that you love, and it might not work out in the beginning, you can keep pushing through, and at some point, you got to trust the journey, and hopefully everything will work out, and everything's, happens for a reason. So I think just keep pushing, and just believe in that, and believe in yourself, all this stuff I'm saying to you guys too is all advice that I need to remind myself of all the time, And I think it's important for everyone to realize that the feeling that you have, you're not alone. Like, there's other people that feel this as well. We just us three just shared that we have imposter syndrome. We doubt ourselves, But what was the shift? It was just a little bit of a mindset shift. Having people in your corner that are encouraging you and stuff and pushing you. And I think for you guys, having each other, you guys kind of feed off each other, right? So I think that's important. So whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, just go fucking do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to die,
Just do it.
right? Just go do it.
But it's like you said, right? It's like you said, it's not just one time. You have to constantly remind yourself, because like our brains are wired, and they're just like, oh my God.
Yep.
And the next day I'm like, oh, I can conquer the world. And then I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, our brains.
So I think it's reminded.
Our brains are made for survival. It's like the what is it, the lizard brain that you have. It's like flight or flight. But as long as you have to remind yourself that take a step back. You're not gonna die. What's the worst that can happen? Everything you just learn from it. And you only fail when you quit. So you're gonna stumble. I'm gonna stumble when I start my podcast. I'm sure that you guys are improving with every podcast that you guys are doing. You're learning from that. But the great part is that you have the courage to start. So for anybody that's listening, I want to encourage you to have the courage to just start. It's not going to be perfect, but just perfect it as you go. Just like in life, nobody has it all figured out.
I love it.
Right?
And, I mean, honestly, the future vision I see in your podcast is going to be beyond what you envisioning.
I hope so.
It's because that's the kind of person.
Thank you.
You will.
Yeah.
Because we have faith. We trust in you.
Yeah.
And I think just having just that slight just seed of of like, this is what I'm going to do, and you're planting in and thinking it through, and going through all the emotions, and then and just going forward.
Can I just say?
So I want to thank you because.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to thank you because there's not a single word that came out of your mouth today that was negative. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all like, I have these thoughts, but I push through, or anytime you reference something that could be perceived that way, it's followed up by like, you don't stay in that. And I think that's really important for people to understand. I'm sure you didn't get there like in one moment, and some people do, like they have life-changing events, but I'm just saying that's really important for people to understand. Like, I think positivity is like up to us.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a question. I have a really important question. Do you have a next thought?
No,
I do.
I do. Like, I have I don't, I would like to tell myself, I don't have bad days. I have bad moments, but I try not to let that moment dictate the rest of my day, And it's like, what's the shift? How can I take care of myself? So for me, this is what I teach my players and my staff. It's called the triad. It's something that I learned from Tony Robbins. So the bottom part of it is your physiology, right? So it's all about your taking care of yourself and stuff, getting enough sleep. Are you hydrated?
Are you, you know, like your body is a vessel. How do you take care of it so that you can be in a peak state? But what are you focusing on? Are you having a, you know, is it glass half full or is it half empty? And then what is the language that you're using with yourself? So anytime that I feel that I'm not in a peak state, you know, it's like, okay, what's off right here? Is it my physiology? Do I need to like stand up and stretch or go for a walk or something? You know, is it because I'm, you know, focusing on the negative here? Or is it the language that I'm using, you know, with myself? Am I speaking kind of like in a negative way to myself? So I try to catch those things. It's just really simple actually. But, you know, I've learned it years ago, but I've always worked on to trying to perfect it and stuff, right? So yes, negative thoughts come in, right? But I don't let it stay there. You know, I try to reshift or, you know, what are these moments? What's the teaching moment? What can I learn from this experience and stuff? So I think, you know, just reframing those things really help. But just know that, like, dude, everybody is having, you know, everybody's going through something, you know. Some of them, you know, the people that we all look up to, the people that we idolize, the people who are the wealthy, but they have their own problems, you know. We're dealing with our own problems. So as I got older, I realized that, you know, everyone's dealing with something themselves. So just try to be nice to each other and, you know, try to support each other and be there for each other and stuff. So, you know, we're all dealing with our own thing. So that's the human experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
The human experience.
I love that.
All loving it.
Do you have a name for your podcast?
It is called,
Do you have a name?
it's called
yet?
Gamechangers. So our team is called GAM Esports. So it's GAM. So I want to have a play on word called Gamechangers. So I want to meet and talk to different people who are like game changers in their industry or in their kind of like in their lane, you know. So for me, it's we teach our players and stuff and our esports athletes. It's like, you know, it's all about mindset, health, and skills. So those three pillars are the three things that we focus on to really become the best version of ourselves. You know, what am I doing every day for my health? What am I doing every day to have a better mindset? What am I doing to level up my skills so that I can, you know, contribute and add to society and things like that? So mindset, health, skills, that's how you become a game changer. Every day.
That's right.
Yes, every day. Little things. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You know what I mean? But like those little things.
Because, you know,
I love it.
once you get there, you want to jump out of bed and jump into
Yes.
life
Do
and
it.
keep going.
That's right.
I mean, that's the enthusiasm.
So cool.
We're sorry that we cut you off earlier.
Yeah.
Did you want to share something?
About your podcast.
No. I
You
think
know,
I was gonna ask you something, but I couldn't remember what I was gonna ask you. But it was basically about kind of similar, like, you know, when you guys are dealing with the imposter syndrome. I know you guys shared about, like, you know, the podcast and then just like finally doing it and stuff. But like, you know, when you guys are, you know, in those moments, do you guys have something or something that you do to kind of overcome it, or how do you reframe it for yourselves?
Yeah, Donna. How do we? How do you do it?
We're still working on it, you know.
Always.
Yeah.
Luis is still working.
All of us.
I got it down now.
I'm still working on it too. Don't worry.
No,
I'm kidding. Luis has his stories to share, but I would say the moment that I realized how powerful my inside is, it was the moment that changed everything. And what I mean by that is that, you know, like everything I want to achieve, everything that I'm capable of, everything that I want outside is all in here. So what it means is my mind, is my heart, is my body. That's going to give me what I want, right? So I stop reaching and I start doing. So doing is really like you said, you know, like really, you know, working on the muscles of your mindset to like reframe it whenever it goes left and right and up and down and, you know, everywhere but like center, right? And center meaning like focus. What is it that you're doing right now? And coming back to the present. And that has really been helpful.
Coming back to the present. That's a powerful one. It's so simple, but
how do you come back to the present? Yeah.
It's so simple. So for example, let's say like, you know, we're talking right now, right? I can see your earpiece. I can see like, you know, the color of your skin. I can see my glasses. But if I'm like looking at the guitar and I'm thinking like what's going on with my kids or like, and I come back, I'm like, oh, this earpiece. Oh, my, you know, earrings. So it's really just realizing what's in front of me and it will bring me back. And I try to stay back, stay in the present as long as I can until my brain takes me somewhere else. There's also another really simple practice that I do is thanking my brain for taking me places. For example, if it takes me into the past, right? I start to observe it by observing, meaning like just kind of seeing where it's taking you and then coming back. So I thank it for like, okay, thank you for processing that with me. And then I come back and I say it out loud. If I'm by myself, then it's easier to say it out loud, you know, but like oftentimes if I'm like with someone, I'm like, okay, you know, like I mentally like thank my brain, but the power really is what's inside us, you know, is really what we want is all in here, and we can achieve that easily.
I think adding to that, it's like being aware, mindfulness, meditation, like every day, you know, back to what you're saying, like doing something every day, disciplining yourself, like even if you don't see discipline, but let's say you play a game every day or you watch a TV show every day or whatever it is, that's a discipline. And it's like trying to see like, no, I am disciplined. And I used to practice yoga daily for years. And I got to this place where fairly recently where I was like, wait, I've been working on myself for like years. I didn't think about it that way. And that's what you start to see patterns and then you start to realize, no, I actually have shifted. I have. And what is that? When you do a practice or when you are in the moment, and when you're saying yoga practice, it's like you have to really focus on that. You can't let your brain, or you're going to fall out of that posture, whatever it is. And so I really love doing that. Like, and I saw that in Vietnam and when we were there, what was that, in April, where people were riding motorbikes, but they were just like in the moment. It was just like this flow, right? You have to be. And so it's just this flow. It's like you're not sitting there thinking about all the crap. You can't, you know, you just can't. It was amazing to me, you know, how calm it was, you know.
When I moved back, that was when I realized, you know, staying in the moment was so much easier than I imagined it to be. Because I keep hearing it, right? And I'm sure a lot of people will hear it. And in Vietnam, you have to stay in the moment, because if you're on a motorbike and you're outside, like, you know, dreaming or like, you know, going to the past, you're going to get hit. You're going to like either go on someone's like, you know, front yard but that simplicity of just like coming back because you have to pay attention, it really may help me to practice like staying in the present.
And not in the past and not in the future, because we can't predict the outcome, and we can't, and if I dwell in the past too much, I will find something to be sad about and negative about and dark about. I will, because like life's not perfect. So it's really about just like, how can I be in the moment? How can I be like, what is it? And you know, mindfulness helps.
That's a huge distinction for me, like in the past like few years. You know, me like coming from like Hollywood and being in LA and just like being like in Hollywood, where it's like, you know, you're keeping up with the Joneses and stuff, and you're always like comparing yourself. It's just hard not to, right? And when I came back to Vietnam, it was super refreshing for me, because you know, coming from Hollywood and being in this like nightlife industry where it's just a lot of smoke and mirrors, it's all about like the presentation and keeping up and just being super flashy and like just showing like, you know, just like the highlight reel in a sense, right? But when I came back to Vietnam, going to Nha Trang, which was just like a small beach town, like seeing my staff and seeing they were genuinely more happy with what they had than all the people that I knew like in Hollywood, and as flashy as it was and stuff. And that really taught me a lot about just appreciating and being in the moment. When I lived in LA, I was always thinking about what's next, the future, and like kind of like comparing myself. But when I lived in Vietnam, I just saw people who were just happy in the moment. And that was just something that was so refreshing for me, and was like kind of like reminded me like, dude, you know what? Stop giving yourself anxiety, stop, you know, having all these different thoughts, and just be in the moment and appreciate the experience that you're having now, you know?
All right. So I love it.
Right. Yeah. And last comment is, you know, we all have like very powerful, you know, like magic inside of us. And all of us are very different from one another. So you would do yourself disservice if you're comparing yourself with somebody else, right? And so like foster what's inside, foster what you want, foster what, you know, what your dreams and desires are, and just going after that, you'll get everything and more. And that's something that we really believe in. We know that you're doing it. You know, a lot of the people that we have come across have, you know, are doing it. And we're also unique. And that's what I love most about like this human experience that we're in right now. So we love you, TK.
That was so great. Thank you for like spending time.
Oh, I
with
love
us.
it. I love
super
to share
cool.
with you guys, and it was fun. Thank you for sharing with me as well. And yeah.
Absolutely. Good luck on your, as you launch your podcast, make sure you let
Hopefully you guys will come and be guests on the podcast.
Let's go. Click for this one, for bringing them into live podcast, make sure you click subscribe. I'm trying to do my best as a podcast host. Click subscribe. TK, what's your handle?
Yes, you can find me on
what you
probably the
wanna
best
do?
would be Instagram. It's at TK_Nguyen. That's NGUYEN. And I hope that you guys will join us on this journey. And remember, you're just seeing all my highlights, but I'm going to try to share a lot more and be more vulnerable with my audience and stuff. So, and yeah,
I
that'll
love
be
it.
fun.
Why not?
Yeah.
Love it.
So many can learn from you.
I love it.
So
Thank you,
many
thank
can
you.
learn.
We did.
So yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you
Yes,
in person.
come back and visit. If you guys are coming to Vietnam, come visit us in Nha Trang at Skylight or at East West Craft Brewery. So see you guys soon.